When I occasionally talk to my elders about the village, they recall old yellowing photos. The village's main source of income was the olive tree, which was vital to its survival, but in 1908 the village's peace was shattered by excavations.
We found this collection of pottery inside a building. You can see a large storage jar here, and then next to it a bowl or perhaps some kind of a jug.
For a while, the villages become a land of jostling for Samaria. The right to excavate the site of the Samaria, Sebastia, which was the capital of the ancient kingdom of Israel. Elders often tell stories of the original Harvard excavations, which found the ruins of palaces built by Omri and Ahab in Israel's time, and buildings erected during the later years of Babylonian, Greek, and Roman occupation. My grandfather complained because the excavation team violated the villager land rights and they got a job. The Egyptians trained laborers, made up of villagers, to carry waste. Stories of our removal run in the family. And in the early 18th century my grandfather moved his family to what is now the city, and their home became the site of an archaeological dig. Only a few homes were selected on the whole hill, and archaeologists believe that the house of his grandfather, who happened to live on top of the hill, was below the ruins of the royal palace of Israel. Several other families were excavated because their addresses were located near ancient temples. The archaeological team came with their advanced exploration machine to negotiate compensation for the land with my grandfather and my neighbors. There seemed to be no bargaining power, and in the end we got a small amount of compensation. Compensation was paid on a per-tree basis, and although an olive tree could only buy 2 lemons and a carton of milk, we were preferred by the laborers and our entire family received higher wages. After moving from the top of the mountain to the city, my family gradually multiplied and spread out in all parts of the city. And the houses in the city became more and more. I have been living in the old house with my grandfather's, which is next to the church. It has 3 floors. We still follow the old habit. The first floor houses livestock and stores goods, and we live in the 2nd and 3rd floors. I even saw in the museum the forms of jars. That we still use today. Which are beautiful and functional, and they continue to this day. I see the palace. I love it. Arcade Palace is the heart of the local political activities. It is the center of the female movement. Because of the Women Committee, it has a history of more than 300 years. Its existence is also our determination to defend our land. Looking at the bricks, some are new, some are old, but they are all part of history. They are also witnesses to history, witnesses to the people and events that existed here. The palace is a symbol of local political calling. Many ethnic identity rallies have been held here. This is the main conference room. 50 years ago it was a derelict place. It was renovated in 2007. The Women's Committee holds educational meetings for women as well as training in business operations here. The walls are a record of what has happened. There is also an old building here that has been renovated. Here, women become the cultural inheritors. I really like its gates. The staggered stones forming the solid wall are like the unity of women, working in mosaics and traditional food preparation, who together defend and develop the cultural treasures of Palestine. I remember a lot of them on the walls here, ceramic faces. The idea of them was we have in this world many different colored faces, but in the end we are all human beings. Here there is also a wall with a mosaic pattern. It has been around since Roman times, I am told. In this space, more activities are dedicated to preserving the culture of traditional Palestinian dishes. For example, it's a competition about food that passes on precious traditional culture through women's call to action and practice. There is also an ancient place here, a very old church. I have heard that a famous Christian, John the Baptist, was imprisoned and beheaded there a long time ago, but I don't know if this is true or not. I rarely went there because it was remote and dilapidated, and there was often vandalism, and no one was there to guard it. But even now some Christians go there to visit from time to the present day. And there are some people who go there to do the event for John the Baptist, named Feast of the Removal of the Sacred Head of the Foreigner. There were a lot of people at the time of the ritual, and I would attend occasionally. The whole process of the ritual will take at least 2 hours. They would do some ceremony and they would also sing Christian songs together, although I couldn't understand their rituals. The church looked very holy at this time, and everyone was devoutly praying for John the Baptist. However, at other times, the place looked less than wonderful. From time to time soldiers with guns would come in and they looked out of place in the church. There is a crypt in which prayers are offered to John the Baptist. When there is no event, Christians who come here pray in this crypt. Outside the church, there is a path that leads down to the Sebastia square. As you walk along the path you will see a tower in the distance, which is also a memorial to John the Baptist. This is a much more imposing place than the church. This building has a larger area than the church, and the walls are more complete. It has been rebuilt many times in history and is now a mosque called Nabi Yahya Mosque, which includes a museum and the tomb of John the Baptist. The location of the mosque is right in the center of town and is usually visited by many people. There was an Eid festival held here, and a lot of people came to it. It was a popular event in our area, and I came along with them, of course. Eid was a popular event for everyone. Christian and Muslim Palestinians attended. The Christian Palestinian people are all together as a partnership with the Muslim families in Shitra. The Archbishop Theodosios of Sebastia, and the Greek Orthodox Patriarchate of Jerusalem said during the visit. The mosque also embraces both Christians and Muslims. On the ground we can see the characteristic mosque buildings, but beneath the domed house is a tomb dedicated to John the Baptist. My grandmother told me that it was a Byzantine basilica before, which became the Crusader church after. And after the Islamic conquest of 1187, the cathedral was transformed into a mosque. Although there have been many changes, John's tomb remains underground and never change. I have heard some people say that John is buried here, but no one knows if that is true. Well, this is where I live. It has a long history and many memories of people. There have been arguments and conflicts, but there have also been joys and reunions. Either way, it's a place I love.